What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Wrestling Junkies podcast. I'm Mr. Cincinnati, and as always, I'm joined by the podcast dad, Choops. It's nice to see you, though we did spend a lot of time together over the last few days.
Man, what a trip. What a trip. We laughed, we cried, we almost witnessed a death. I was pulled over. I forgot to pump gas. What a trip. What a trip, man.
You're just getting right in there, huh?
Yeah. You got to experience the Wiggles for the first time, and that was good for you.
I think the word "good" is doing a lot of work in that sentence there. It was interesting. It was interesting to say the least. And good evening, Kyle. Nice to see you.
Cheers. I'm drinking a caffeinated Dr. Cherry Vanilla sparkling water.
I don't know. I don't know why. I was immediately going Mr. Pibb. I don't know why. Good Doc is also in the house here. Good to see you as well, my friend. So it definitely was it was an interesting weekend, to say the least. If you have been living under a rock, yes. If you've been living under a rock, Action Wrestling down in Tyrone, Georgia, celebrated 6 fantastic years, and man, top to bottom, just an absolutely phenomenal card. Everything that we saw. We, of course, sponsored the semi-main event between the Good Doctor, Landon, Hale, and the reigning defending Mustafa Ali. A barn burner of a match. I think that if you follow us, if you follow us on social media, which if you're not already, hit that QR code in the top left corner, and you'll get to see the clips and videos, everything that's on our Instagram as well. Just a fantastic night had all around. As we're getting Matt set up to get into the room here, I got to send him a new link. We're going to talk a little bit of WWE draft here. So Podcast Dad, I just want to kind of get your thoughts first on what you thought of it, how you think it went.
I think everybody should go buy a mug. That's what I think.
What you got in that mug, since you're drinking your Diet Dr. Cherry?
I just poured that in there.
I
just poured that in there. A little bit of coffee residue in there, but that's okay.
That's fair.
Yeah. So you told me before we came on, there's a little bit of controversy or chatter online about the draft. What's the controversy? Like, I don't understand. People are upset that there wasn't as much movement as they wanted. And it's like, I think WWE has to prove to us that this draft is actually going to stick. Like, they've been doing the draft for years, and for me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't. Yeah. I don't get into it because I know halfway through the year it'll probably change. So the whole disappointment thing and then everything like that, like whatever. Like I don't personally care about the draft. I haven't cared about the draft since the original. What was that? 2001,
2002, yeah.
2002 draft. Like when they did the real hard brand split from like 03 to 05, and it was like steadfast that you are on this brand no matter what. But like for the past decade, they haven't even followed their own damn rules. So why do I care? I don't. So if this is the new era and they start following their new rules, cool. Then next year I will pay more attention to the draft and be more invested. But at the moment, dude, I do not care. I can't say that any more nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that some of the some of the talk of calling it a bust might be a little bit of hyperbole, but I do think that, especially because of what WWE is doing as far as making the concerted effort to garner all the mainstream visibility that is, available, that they can certainly take advantage of. I mean, the fact that they scheduled their draft during the same weekend as the NFL draft shows that there is at least some. I wasn't going to necessarily say dumb. I think my thought is, okay, at least if you're going to do that and try to compare yourself or put yourself in that same conversation of doing a draft, especially during the biggest one in sports that gets all the entertainment coverage, I think that they could do more with how they, structure their rounds, and as far as the availability of certain talent. I love the fact that they locked the champions to their respective shows, because those belt swap segments are just all kinds of stupid. You know, we saw how badly it went between Sonya, Charlotte, and Becky. I don't think anybody wants a repeat of that on live television. It was funny the first time that we saw it because we got the New Day and Street Profits on on the screen together for the first time ever, which was really cool. So I just think that if they're going to do the draft, they've got to do a few things to make it matter, make it mean more. I think they have to make sure that they're sticking to this brand split. But I'm kind of rushing through that because the man of the hour has finally arrived. We have with us tonight President and CEO of Action Wrestling, Mr. Matt Griffin, coming to us. What is going on, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. You're catching me. I am in the parking lot outside my kids' baseball practice. So I have my very fancy setup. I hope you can see me okay because I can't see myself.
Yep.
But you look perfect.
Thank you. That's always flattery always will work with me. No, I'm very fancily set up with my phone braced against something keeping it up on the back of my truck.
Well, hey, that's all right. We're just certainly glad that you could join us tonight. It has been just an absolute privilege to talk to you and get to know you and to finally meet you this weekend. Action celebrating 6 incredible years. For those that are watching tonight that aren't familiar, just give us a little bit about your background in wrestling and kind of the origin story of Action.
So Action started, like I said, 6 years ago. I basically just decided I'd always thought I could run wrestling. I really thought that I might be able to have the mind for it. I'd successfully promoted some comedy shows starting in 2014. I'd been a part of some other events that I'd run. My career in wrestling goes back, though, to 1998. My trainer and mentor actually took me on the road before I ever took a bump or hit the ropes. I spent the first year or so getting an education on the road, and then I was able to go ahead and get into the ring. I started training. Started doing shows in 1999. So, I've been in for a couple decades, and I can definitely feel it too. I wrestled under the name JC North in about 15 different states when the indie scene was entirely different. No social media to get yourself over. You could email promoters, but if you wanted them to actually see you, you had to send VHS tapes and resumes and pictures. That's when I started. So I got very heavily into tape trading and such like that. I kind of stopped my active career about 2007. The SCI, the Scenic City Invitational, is actually what kind of pulled me back in when it started, because I know wrestling, because I also am I'm an actor. I have representation in Atlanta. I do know some stuff about video work. So, knowing video work, I helped with some production things on SCI the first couple of years, and that kind of helped spur me getting back into it. I discovered a rec center in my hometown that I'd never seen before. And that's where you visited the other day. And I literally walked up to the building on a Sunday afternoon being like, I wonder if I could run shows here. Is this building big enough? And it was. I set up a meeting with the rec manager, and here we are 6 years later. It's been a very wild ride.
Definitely.
Yes. So now, we were there and we saw you running around like a madman, right? We saw you were here, there, everywhere. Now that the show is over, is it kind of a weight off the shoulders, or are you already full speed ahead to your next show?
I mean, it's funny. I had the conversation about, somebody. It was a conversation about doing something when I'm less busy, and I was like, well, that's not happening. It wasn't even necessarily related to wrestling. It was just a thing about, well, when stuff sort of calms down, it's like, no. No, that's not a thing. That's not a thing that happens. But those of us who are driven to be successful, and that's in wrestling and regular business, if you want to be successful, that's just a mindset. That's what it takes. You're never going to be successful in this if you're half-assed. I mean, I'm the promoter and the booker. I don't just put shows together. I have to go out. I'm the one who goes and puts out posters. I, over the last few years, have built a few people, fans who like to help put up posters. So I have a bit of a street team. That's a huge deal that they do that for me. I have figured out, it's a learning process. You figure out what you can do to max, what things really work. I've discovered Facebook paid ads, depending on how I do them and when, they can attract people from places I don't get to poster. So people who never would have heard about the show that live 20 miles away may see that Facebook ad and buy a ticket and come. And that's a fan made, because you still have to do the work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. I feel great though. April's been a hell of a month for action. We had a show that was voted one of the best of WrestleMania weekend with our show Dean.
Mm-hmm.
And 6 years is just a long time. I said it before the show, before we went live. I'm not sure if you guys were in there yet or heard my kind of rushed pre-show speech.
Oh, yeah.
But there's lots of promotions, lots of wrestlers, lots of stuff that come and go in that time. I mean, in 6 years, there's lots of things that might have seemed great, and now they're distant memories. Consistency is really hard in wrestling. So the first several years were very good education for figuring out what to do, what not to do, and learning how to test what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, it was standing room only inside that building for that night. I mean, 5 matches from start to finish, just an incredible card all around. Before we talk about the event itself, one thing that we noticed being promoted, I believe, was called Action Next, and it's an opportunity for aspiring wrestlers to get their looks and to try to get some ring time. So tell our audience a little bit more about this program and why you think it's so important to Action to have something like this available to people.
Yeah, it's called Action Next Up, and it kind of sprung out of the pandemic times. What happened was when I came back, there wasn't a lot going on. So Bobby Flacco actually got a lot of kids from WWA4 who wanted to be in background wrestling, didn't have any shows that they could really go to. They were training, but there weren't a lot of places running. He helped us get a lot of people to help set up, and after maybe the second time, it was like 2:00. We got set up very early, and it was all right. Well, did you guys bring your gear? Maybe we could do some matches and give you some feedback, because what are we gonna do? Stare at each other for another 4 hours? And we did that, and then after it, I asked Dylan Hales. I'm like, hey, do you think we could tape this and put it on IWTV? Do you think that would be a thing? And we talked about it, and basically it kind of evolved from Bobby Flacco just being a good brother and spreading the word. Unfortunately, you didn't get to see him last Friday because he's in South America. He's traveling.
Yeah.
he is a travel. I mean, he's got a travel blog with thousands of subscribers on YouTube. He's great. He's wrestled in several countries in South America, and by all accounts, by his pictures and videos, he's having the time of his life. But it kind of became this thing. It was like, all right, if you're local and you want to get in front of us, come help out, because I know everybody wants to message. That works a lot less. Like putting in FaceTime with people is what really matters. Mm-hmm. And we've had a lot of people come in, do these tryout matches. I mean, over the years we've had like O'Shea Edwards, Violence is Forever, Alex Kane, Shug D, and many, many others sitting there watching the matches. And if they're inspired to, I always tell them, like, look, you can grab these guys as soon as they're done. Go out in the parking lot. Go ahead, tell them whatever you want, because it's kind of like an open forum. We want to see where they're at and give notes. And hey, you can accent this. You can maybe eliminate this. And here's what I liked. Here's what I didn't. I'm trying to give them feedback from wrestlers who are, on TV. I remember O'Shea did it once after he came down, like from a Ring of Honor taping. Violence is Forever, Alex Kane, MLW talents, plenty of other guys with decades of experience. So that's kind of a cool little program. We've had a lot of people on our roster want to show up and show out there and got places on shows, and we were able to kind of watch their development even earlier, which was a big help. So yeah, it kind of became it organically became kind of our tryout show, which not having a school is a big deal, and and that's very cool. We put everything we can on IWTV or YouTube.
Awesome. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Landon Hale was one of those early ones to come in and try out.
He was. He had randomly. Landon and I met at Evolve when Evolve ran Atlanta. We met at the door, and I was Action actually helped sell. We got a promo code for Evolve, and we got a piece of any tickets that we had a referral credit on. I had a friend in the office. I'm standing there talking to him before I go in to check out the show, and this guy comes up. They're not taking cards. Their card reader's down. Oh, okay. Where's an ATM? And I'm like, well, wait, I got some cash in my pocket. Just, Venmo me $50 and I'll hand you a $50 bill or whatever. So I did. It was Landon Hale. And okay, you're a wrestler. Okay. And, he invited me to a couple shows when he was, when Robert Gibson was running shows. I couldn't make it, but he sent me a couple things, and he wasn't there yet. But you could tell that if he stayed on the current path, he was going to be there. And a lot of it is just learning the timing with some of the fast-paced guys, learning the timing, and he did. He kept getting better and better. He came in, did a Next Up. He did Futures. He got on some of our shows. His real breakout match for us was 2 years ago at Southeast First, when he wrestled Eli Knight, and that was a heck of a match. Had no plans to follow back up on it, but when you have a match that was that well received and that good, you had to. So we did a series of 3 matches with Landon and Eli, and he moved to Massachusetts. He's picked up a lot of different stuff up there. So yeah, I mean, as far as entering into our university, literally just met me. Hey, come do a tryout match, and last weekend he wrestled Mustafa Ali.
Yeah,
I want to talk about that real quick, Eric. I want to talk about that moment after the match. You were there at the top of at the entranceway and gave him a big hug. What did that moment mean to you and Landon right there?
I like when people work hard and are working hard selflessly. It's nice when somebody does put in the work, and you're not talking hours. You're talking, you're talking years of work. There's the saying about getting your 10,000 hours in to be really good at something, to get to that next level. And, he's working on putting in his 10,000 hours. So for him to be able to have a moment that I know has been built up in his head for months, to be able to get here, to finally be able to get on the plane, to just having all that excitement and to deliver and know that, you're across from somebody who can have this match. He can be a capable wrestler and have this match in his sleep, but Landon had the ability to stay with him, not just hang, but excel. And, you could just tell that with his explosion of emotion, that, oh shit, I deserve this. I worked hard. I've been there as a wrestler. When I wrestled, just you build something up, and when it actually comes through and you're done and you're laying there like, oh, that went great, because you can have a lot of fears. I mean, think about it. We're sweaty. We're wearing tights. You're wrestling with your shirt off. You're exposed, and if you screw up, every single person is going to know it. So it's just great. I've been able to have that moment a lot of times over the years where somebody delivers, and that's my favorite moment in all of wrestling, where I can just give somebody the biggest hug and be like, "Yep, you put the time in, you earn this." Because I'm old school. I don't hand out opportunities.
Yep.
It's true, and I mean that's the thing is you really have to go hunt for it and be ready to do what you have to do in order to make it happen. And certainly a feel good moment on that card, but there was a lot of other stuff to enjoy. I mean, we saw a head get shaved, hair versus hair. I think that is probably the first time I've seen a hair versus hair match on the Indies, something that wasn't in WWE. So, take us through, why this was kind of the perfect ending to that particular tag team title feud.
I mean, it's something that has come up for some time, and doing it on an anniversary show is like, I wanted to be able to peak. I don't on the Indies believe in building up to shows. Like, I don't do quarterly really big shows, like I don't really peak like that. I think I want everyone to want to watch every show. So I don't do like every 3 months we're going to have a really big show and then everything else is building up to that. But naturally, with the way things worked out for doing an anniversary show, we had a lot of things that did build and peak a bit. Nobody would see it coming. I think, and it was something that when talked about with Matt Sells, that he was interested and into it. He's definitely, I don't know if you're familiar with Matt Sells, but he's definitely a unique performer in that he's been around just about as long as I have around Georgia, around Indies, and he's traveled, he's moved for wrestling. He has put in a lot of time. He did a streak in Action Wrestling where he never won a match, and that was all through the state of Georgia. Like in 2019, he was like 0-100 or something like that.
Wow,
and so that was so we built up, and there was a discussion like, when are you going to end this? And when he decided he was finally going to end losing all around the state, he wanted to have the match at Action, which is a compliment to us and what we're doing, because he trusted us to have this big moment and be able to pay off and deliver it, and I feel like we did. We did when he won the match. We had put his hair up against $2,500 cash bounty from Eric Royal, and Matt won. Although there were a lot of people who thought Matt was getting his head shaved, because I did something similar. I had all these actual real barber implements. But that $2,500 was also real, because we had $2,500. We did it like Golden Nugget in Vegas style. There's $2,500 in ones under this big protective case. And I booked somebody who was later going to do something with Matt. But I booked somebody, and literally their job that night was to get themselves over and guard the money. So at the end of the night, we take the money, and I'm putting it into my duffel bag. And this was something agreed on. And Matt takes some of the money, and he cuts some promo. He does this. The show ends, and he's throwing money out to the crowd, and kids and adults. There were a number of adults who were going to get dollar bills that he was throwing out. That was February 2020, and that was the last show we ran before the pandemic. I kind of think of that as phase one of Action Wrestling. If we had never been able to come back and had to stay shut down, it would have been a hell of an image and a hell of a night to end it on. So that's always what I've kind of considered phase one, our first 2 years. And that was, we finally did shave Matt's head, and there's a lot of people who thought it was going to be various people for different reasons, and we were trying to keep people in the dark about who it was going to be. So Matt being somebody who's been beloved for 6 years, because he was a day one wrestler. There were 2 day one wrestlers on the show. Eric Royal, who was in that 6-person match, and Matt Sells.
Awesome.
So that was a pretty cool moment.
Very cool. Well,
hold on now. I'm going to talk about the main event, because there was some controversy, and
a lot of controversy.
Adam Priest was robbed, wasn't he?
Yeah, he
and that one was a tough pill to swallow. It was an ending that I don't think anybody expected, for sure. And then to have it reversed, I think the entire crowd was shocked. But we are now running that back in a steel cage match, the first ever, if I'm not mistaken, for Action.
The first one ever in action, yes. It's been something we've discussed a long time, but we did want to do it when it was going to be the right opportunity, and it had to just not like, all right, we're going to do a steel cage match now. I wanted something to be built to naturally, and it really did feel like this type of feud deserved to have a steel cage, if that makes sense. Because
I would agree.
Because it's not something I want to use as a throwaway. It's not something I want to start doing every 3 months. I like the idea of that. The wrestling itself is special. The storylines are special, but we use the gimmick matches that we build to judiciously. I want to really be careful about stuff like that because I want to get mileage out of the fact when we finally do a steel cage match. I've had people for years ask me about it. And to finally go ahead and be able to do it, that's cool. There definitely was. There definitely was a. We did a Dusty finish, which I had basically decided I never do. But Adam pretty much being a heel. People have seen that world title change hands in that building before when AC Mack won it from Alex Shelley. But we thought that people would forgive us with him being with the way that it worked out. Plus, we'd already done 2 title switches, and I trusted Cruel and Adam Priest to be able to pull it off. And we knew there would be a little bit of like but then when we told, when you're telling the story, you're unfolding that third act, and really that 3.5. Okay, there's going to be a steel cage match coming. This is how we're going to obviously end it and blow it off. We knew people would be like excited about that. And I've had several people ask about it. You're finally doing one. I can't wait. When are tickets going on sale? And it makes it worth it. I think the best thing I can say about that show more than any show we've done is we like to subvert expectations quite often. Like myself and Dylan Hales, when talking about the card order earlier that week, it was like, I don't know. We had a few different things that we bounced around, and it was like, I will say too that in the defense of subverting expectation, I think it worked with the Action World title match opening because I don't think anybody expected that Manders was going to beat Kane. Yeah, when it's the opener.
Yeah, we didn't.
And that's one of the points. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it just to do it. I don't want to do a surprise just to do it. But I want to train. Like there's those wrestling things where people will reflexively say they don't like something. Wrestling fans are not necessarily original. I don't like it because of this. It's like, well, wait. Have you been trained that that's not a good thing, or did you actually not like it? Like, for example, the whole idea of title matches need to go at least 12 to 15 minutes before there's a title change. Well, that was one of the reasons when Anthony Henry defeated Adam Priest a year and a half ago to win the title. That was a 7-minute match. And if you go back and watch it, there's near no reaction on the finish right away. It's this sort of steadily oh my God, that happened, because everybody knew that it couldn't happen because the match couldn't end at 7 minutes. Mm-hmm. So that's why I like to go ahead and add have a 3-minute match every once in a while. I like to change stuff up. Well, the world title's not going to change hands. I mean, why can't it? Why can't it? Yeah. So, when you hit people in the mouth like that, and it's like 7:45, 7:50 on a show they know is going to go, to about 10 o'clock or so, and it's like, oh my God, we saw, what else is coming? Yeah. Dylan Hales and I when we talk this through, we're constantly trying to figure out different things that will appeal to people, will surprise people, because I don't want anyone to ever know. Yeah. Everybody thinks they know. I've had people say like, well, I know this is happening or this isn't happening, and I'm just chuckling to myself and be like, okay. So I want people to, to borrow the phrase of one of my favorite and friend indie promotions, I want people to have to expect the unexpected.
Yeah.
And that's a good feeling as a booker when you can go ahead and get that reaction. So
yeah, I would definitely say mission accomplished in that respect with everything he pulled off this weekend. As we're kind of wrapping up here, we're going into year 7. Take us behind the curtain. What are your aspirations for year 7? What are you hoping is next for Action? Just tell us where we're going.
Oh man, that's a big question. That's something my wife asked me about a month ago, and now it's a different question because I'm past the 2 big April shows. I wanted to steal WrestleMania weekend. I had a couple partners in that from the Death Valley Driver Board, Eric Ritz and Phil Schneider. That's what I told them my goal was, and we wanted to put on a kick-ass kind of variety show type aspect for, that's a whole separate conversation. But that's how we started off the month, and then I just really wanted to kick people in the teeth with this anniversary show, and I hope we did that. That's something to think on. As I'm very happy with the way things are going. Last November, we had our first show at a particular brewery. In a few weeks, we have a show at the same business brewery, but a different location. So it's another Line Creek Brewing that we're going to, which is very cool. Hopefully that's a success. It's going to be in Noonan, Georgia, called Noonan Fight Club. It won't be live, unfortunately, on IWTV. The building doesn't have that infrastructure, but we're going to try to turn around as quickly as we possibly can for VOD. So just having, I feel like I kind of have like a whole little territory. I have 3 schools right now. We're constantly looking for other schools that we can do shows at. We have Scenic City coming up, which is essentially, that's myself and Scott Hensley who booked that at our sister promotion, TWE. So it's, anything in that Action TWE SCI universe, that's all run essentially by, 4 or 5 people that we're all good friends. Some of us have known each other for decades. So SCI is kind of like an extension of Action. Not really, but we're closely enough related. That's in July 12th and 13th. TWE will have a show the night before called The Night Before. My goal is just to, I have such a incredible talent pool of people that wrestlers that I want to get in, to be able to get looks, to be able to get shots. I've had a lot of people who want to come wrestle here, which is a huge compliment. And, I just want to continue to be able to have enough events to be able to get them all, while also not overexposing and running too often and killing the town.
Sure.
So I guess being able to expand and have some more events, and have cautious, successful growth, I think that would be my main concern, and what I'm really trying to do, for the next year looking forward.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, yeah, we certainly can't wait. We've already said it a bunch this weekend. You've got 2 new fans in us, and let's just say that we might have a couple of ideas for you as far as some stuff you can do in year 7. So,
oh yeah,
think that merits a larger conversation when the cameras aren't rolling.
Oh wow, and year 7 might have just perked up even more. No, I'm very happy to have met you guys. Thank you so much for the support. I'm glad that you consider the trip down this past weekend. I know it can be traveling can be tough, especially when you do it for wrestling, but I hope it was very worthwhile for you. And just thank you so much for the support and the fact that people believe in what we do and want to support it with not just money, but time, because we can never get time back, just all of those things, just taking the last half hour to talk to me about this, that all means a lot. So thank you so much to both of you, and I'm really looking forward to year 7.
Yeah, we
appreciated.
appreciate everything, and we are also looking forward to year 7, and I'm looking forward to the steel cage match. To be honest with you, I cannot wait for that cage match.
I'm hopeful that they don't lose me the building. Hopefully the steel cage will hold, so all the violence happens in a 16 by 16 area, and we're fine. And that might be the safest match we could do. or it could explode and then everything goes horrifically wrong. But the future is very bright, and thank you for, it's funny talking about the first show. I love to tell this little story.
Yeah.
The very first show we had 7 matches. There were no extra wrestlers who showed up to watch the show, to check it out. So if I had any person cancel, I could not replace them. I would have to cannibalize another match to do it.
Oh, yes.
Which is, I mean, I have some shows, that we're running now that we have wrestlers who are super talented who come just to hang out, just to be around, just to go ahead and network, because they understand that this is a place that they want to be and that this is a place people have their eyes on, which is, when I have other wrestlers and promoters and people in the business coming to check my shows out, that's a gigantic compliment. So just the fact that we went from a show that a lot of people didn't pay attention to with our first event, and I knew where I wanted to go, and we're on the way there. So I'm glad you guys got to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, we thank you, and we certainly cannot wait to see what happens next in year 7. Where can everybody find Action on social media?
All right, Action Wrestling. We are on Twitter. It's Action Wrestle. It's Wrestle, WRESTLE, Action, and the number 1. We are on Facebook and Instagram at Action Wrestling, and then the number 1. So we're on all of those. We have a TikTok channel. I believe it's Action-Wrestling. I very thankfully do not run the TikTok channel, as you can tell. But please, the best thing you could do, especially in the next couple days before the end of the month, I'd love to get some more hours. We are having our best month ever on IWTV, so please watch. It could be this past Friday show. It can be any show that's on the Action channel. Please watch on IWTV. If you're convinced to sign up on IWTV.live, please use promo code ACTION. And for our WrestleMania weekend show, Dean, which Voices of Wrestling voted as the best show of the weekend, that's available on Blu-ray at smartmarkvideo.com. I think that's it.
Awesome.
And I hope everyone appreciates and supports you, supports all the other podcasts that talk about independent wrestling. This is a very, very cool network, and I'm glad you got to come see what we were like, and I hope it inspires you to do more.
Oh yeah, no, we'll be down there in July for sure.
Oh yes, you're coming to SCI. I can't wait.
Yep,
we'll be excited for that. I promise I will have more time to actually talk and not be just running around. Promise.
No, you're fine.
Maybe.
Yeah, we got a lot to get ahead of us, so it's absolutely going to be great. And you've got to get back to it. You're in dad mode right now, but Matt, thank you again. I'm sure that we'll be talking to you soon.
Hey, I appreciate you guys a ton. Be safe and have a good week.
Likewise. Thanks, Matt. Good to hear from you.
Look at that.
Yeah. Seriously, if you guys have not had a chance to check out Action Forever, their 6-year anniversary show, do yourselves a favor and check this show out.
IWTV.
Yeah.
$10.
I mean, it's really the best investment, and all of the companies that are part of this right now, it's just incredible to see, what they're doing. So please make sure that you do. That's going to do it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking night 2 of the WWE draft, covering a little bit more AEW as well. We will also be having our official Backlash predictions probably this Wednesday or Thursday. But that's going to do it for us today. Podcast Dad, last word's yours.
Oh no, I wasn't prepared for this. Hey, remember to bounce your balls. It's a Wiggles reference. The group chat will understand it. If you haven't listened to the song, go look it up. It's a fantastic song. I don't know what you want me to say. Support independent wrestling. It's a lot of fun.
Was that so hard?
It was probably, and I'm not, and this is not, and he's not on the show anymore. He's already, but it was probably a top 3 moment I've had at a wrestling show. Being able to go in there when Mustafa Ali made the speech at the end, and we came up and we hit the mat for Landon. That was a
Thanks again. the Wrestling Junkies podcast, that Junkies Pod, for sponsoring that barn burner. Thanks again for Mustafa for coming in. Yes. First time ever promotion.
Yeah, that was fun. It was a top 3 moment for me. Just appreciate them, appreciate us.
Another massive moment.
Appreciate you. I'll say that.
Oh no, that's no. I mean, I do have to show one more picture here because we did get to chat with Ali a little bit, and here we are. You got to hold the X Division title. I did too. How wild is that to hold a belt that is actively being used? I mean, Ali is doing the best work of his career right now. He's on top of the world. PWI cover. Yeah, just such a laid back,
down to earth.
Yeah.
Could have had the biggest ego in the world, but didn't. Like very nice guy. But yeah, and one thing I've learned through the travels is Mr. Cincinnati does not eat. So if you see this man,
that's not no. That's
we went to dinner and he ordered soup. Come on, who is this guy?
Well, you know what? Based on what else we saw during that experience, do you really what?
Yeah.
It's not even worth the argument. Not even worth the argument. It was another great weekend to be had by all. And I'm serious. We have some other ideas for action, so let's see if we can help bring them to fruition. But that is going to do it for us today. As always, hit that QR code in the top left corner. Please like, please share, please subscribe, turn on those notifications, buy our merch, support our store, support wrestling in general. It's a great time to be a fan, so let's all enjoy it. Let's all support each other and grow and just be the best versions of ourselves that we can be in this wacky world of pro wrestling. So without further ado, we will be back tomorrow to talk Monday Night Raw. As always, for the podcast dad, I'm Mr. Cincinnati. This has been the Wrestling Junkies podcast. We'll talk to you guys soon.
Yeah.